Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of r/Entitled Karens. In today's episode, Karen threatened to sue us when she basically just left her teens with us. Ignorant Karen at the supermarket. Teacher Karen is super competitive about Pokemon Go. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. Karen threatened to sue us when she basically just left her teens with us. I'm not going to go into depth on what these kids were doing, cause I posted other stories of what many of these kids were doing. I'll just make a quick highlight of what led to them getting kicked out. They get tickets, but instead of staying in their auditorium, they hop from one movie to another. We repeatedly get noise complaints until we decide no, you're not getting a refund or compensation for causing trouble, and we're asked repeatedly to stop. They're told to call their parents and leave. They all say we'll call our parents/friends/relatives to pick us up, but said whoever are either not picking up or take their time to pick them up, and the kids are now running amok in the lobby, still causing trouble and trying to sneak back into other auditoriums. We have enough and kick them out officially, and due to it being closing time, doors are already closed and we're cleaning up when I hear knock knock knock. Can I come wait inside? Me, sorry, we're closed. Teens, but it's cold out here and my parents aren't here yet. Manager, there's a gas station across the parking lot, you can wait it, go there, we're closed. They usually keep knocking until security walks over, then they bolt away. Note this is before Uber or Lyft was a thing. At most there were taxis. But I'm not sure how late they run, since it was around midnight as these was happening. By the time my co-workers and I finished, it was pitch black. My ride was outside and security was just making sure everyone got to their cars alright before heading back inside. I see these teens just hanging out just outside the building around the far sides of the building, but afterwards I'm not sure how they got home, since it's not my job to babysit them. Next day, the cry of a Karen screams, "Why did you make my babies walk home in the dark? They could have been kidnapped." Security, ma'am, we had your teens call you repeatedly, but no one responded and we were closing. Karen, so you're okay with letting kids get kidnapped? How dare you? I'm going to sue you all and get all of you people fired. Before storming off and never appearing again, we're a movie theater, not a free babysitting service. It's your own fault for not picking up your own kids/teens. Don't expect us to drop your own kids/teens off at home for you. Heck, if one of the night managers literally bikes 2 hours home in the dark cause she doesn't have a working car, then you can afford to come pick up your kids/teens, Karen. My mother used to manage a drive-in, and we would get all kinds of crazy people, but one of the worst was this drunk couple that got kicked out. And apparently they were so drunk they forgot their child was laying on a blanket, maybe 5 or 6, and had fallen asleep outside of the car, and they ran over the side of his face. So we grabbed them up, brought them in the concession stand, called an ambulance. By the way, the boy was fine, just big gash, and about the time the ambulance is leaving is when the parents show back up. "Oh hey, have you seen etc." and try to act like it was the movie theater's fault for, I don't even know how. We had this exact problem. New rule. All kids must be accompanied by an 18-year-old. Usually the 18-year-old would want to watch a R-rated movie, but failed to bring an ID and do the usual, "Can't I just show you a picture of my ID?" or "I don't want to watch a kids movie, I want to watch a rated movie." Sorry, no ID, no R-rated movie. Usual ends with 18-year-old dragging the screaming child behind them and flipping us the finger. I think my favorite part of this is that even if the kids had been well behaved, the parents were still messed up because they hadn't managed to pick up the kids until after the theater was completely closed. Yeah, like, how do you get mad at the theater when you didn't pick up your kids after it was closed? Karen, what's your last name? CPS would be interested in hearing your concerns. The amount of times the GM had wanted to call CPS on these kids were real, especially when the parents would respond with they can walk home or they can stay at their friend's house. On the rare occasions where they do pick up but don't want to be a proper parent, then freak out at us when a cop car pulls up with their child in the back seat. I worked at a hotel that would often rent daddy-daughter dance nights in the ballroom to local schools and churches. The bar room was across the property and 21 plus, so the dads would always gather there, leaving their kids to run around getting into trouble. Getting a hold of the parents was always a hassle, and anytime a girl scrapped a need, the mom would call the next day with the classic "How dare you?" I work at a restaurant adjacent to a soccer field. We were pretty busy, but I noticed a woman and a young girl in a soccer uniform sit down. Cool, grabbing some lunch before your game. The woman orders waters and says they need a minute. I return with their drinks, and the woman is gone. The little girl has goldfish crackers, apple slices, and a coloring book. I asked where her mom went, and she told me she left. Oh. Is she coming right back? Nope, she was supposed to sit in the restaurant until 2 p.m. when her game started. It was like 11 a.m. We called the police. Ignorant Karen at the supermarket. I despise how ignorant and selfish people are. After using my turn signal to indicate I was pulling to the curb in front of the supermarket, then putting on my 4 ways after I stopped, I was letting my 84-year-old mother out of my vehicle by the ramp nearest the store because she can't lift her leg enough to step onto the curb, and again, she's 84, so I try to save her steps if I can as well by doing her off right at the door. Karen in the vehicle behind me starts in on the horn, yelling and gesturing before my mother could get the door open, telling me to move. I was blocking traffic. This is not the first incident I've had in this parking lot with my mother. Before I stopped dropping her off at the door, she was almost hit twice by people who didn't stop at the pedestrian crossing. This time I lost it and screamed back that she could go EFF herself if she can't wait for an elderly person to safely get out. She got mouthy back, etc., etc., and eventually Her Majesty was able to go on her happy way 2 minutes later. I really need to get a dash cam to make these people famous. My mother is also 84 and visually impaired. Any Karen that honks at me while I'm helping her navigate outside of her home is gonna get the middle finger and me moving very slowly. Man saw a wild Karen at Whole Foods demanding grass-fed chicken because they had grass-fed beef. Poor butcher tried to explain chickens don't eat grass, and I see chickens pecking the ground eating grass all the time. It took the store manager at the time coming over to de-escalate the situation, and credit to him, he went into the back and found some grass-fed chicken. He just made up a label and charged her beef prices. So smooth. I will never understand why everyone is in such a hurry. The 2 minutes it took to wait to get the elderly woman safely to the side made no difference on Karen's Day. The 30 seconds, or 1 minute, or even 5 minutes that you are delayed by traffic or pedestrians, or any nuisance is not going to be the reason you are late. Chill, relax. Stop listening to politics. Dang, wasn't expecting you to get hate for letting your mom off at the front of the store. Any store I have ever been to, there is always room to stop and load/unload, as well as for people who can't wait to go around. Crying out loud, I hope some of y'all never get old and dependent on the help of others. Yep, something about a grocery store parking lot. Signage and painted lines are suggestions. I was waiting for an elderly man to cross the crosswalk from the store into the parking lot, and he was a little slow on his feet, and I had the person behind me honk. I didn't care, I wasn't going to move and gladly let the man behind me wait, then proceeded to do the absolute slowest speed through the parking lot to the exit. Old fart here, getting older by the day, having trouble walking, about to have a knee replacement. My husband is kind enough to drop me as close to the store as he can. So far, no one's honked at us. People have looked when I get out and then use my cane, but that's it. Calm down, life isn't that serious. Teacher Karen is super competitive about Pokemon Go. In my town, for months there'd be people of all ages walking around at all times of day to catch whatever Pokemon they could find in the Pokemon Go app, including later at night. This story took place around 9 p.m. on a sidewalk next to a school just a minute's walk away from my home. My friends and I were all playing, and there was a gym literally attached to the school, with 2 Pokestops on either side. You could reach all of them on the sidewalk. This is important. It was the perfect place to grind. We did so almost every night for a while. This night, though, was different. We did our usual takeover of the gym and started grabbing our stops before the gym is suddenly attacked. One of the people I raided with was a bit cheeky, and as soon as we lost the gym, he would throw a random Pokemon of his choice into the open spot before the mystery attacker could. I like to be a bit more fair, so I opted to quickly run back to my house to grab a drink. I kept tabs on my phone, socially awkward me just waiting for the pause in takeovers to see if the gym was finally ours again or something because I hate conflict, but after a bit of this back and forth couldn't push it off any longer and returned. As I walk back, a red car slams right in front of me, pulling out of the school's parking lot. An old woman who was at least in her 50s starts screeching at us about how we were on school property and could get arrested for trespassing, stating she was a head teacher and would make sure we were labeled appropriately for our actions. She implied we were trying to watch kids at 9 p.m. and that she'll ignore us if we just left. She then, while still in the little exit area of the school, re-challenges the GYM, and once again, the dude takes it over again. Woman goes ballistic. Shows that she's calling 911, screams that her students are way better than us at the game, how we're a bunch of delinquents, blah blah blah. The cheeky guy comments that she can just take it back in the morning, since the next day was a school day and we'd be all at work or asleep. I try to mention that we've actually had a run-in with the police before, and they specifically said as long as we stayed on the sidewalk and not into the school parking lot, we were not trespassing. She claims that I made it up, and threatens us again. During this she's still challenging the gym, and finally takes it over, threatening us for the last time as she zooms off. We beat her Pokemon and scurry back to my house, which luckily was close enough to the gym itself, and took turns guarding it out of pettiness. Not the most wild story, but I'm still in awe at seeing this lady almost hit me with her car and just screaming like we've committed a murder. Also, for those who are curious, she was Valor, we were Mystic. Try keeping the gym for your team only. Let's see how the teacher reacts, surprised face. Haha, we did have complete control over the gym for over 2 years after this, since it was literally connected to my house. It was easy to do. Sadly, we all lost interest though after a while, so I have no idea who's still playing. I can't even log into my account anymore and they won't help me get it back, crying face. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and share, and we will see you in the next video.